Okay, I've always managed to avoid microphones in the past. Now, I can't see very well, so I don't know what's up on the screen yet. But is that my title page?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So I'm talking today about ways to approach meeting with a politician or government representative, and it's based on the lessons I learned from meeting with MP Les Walker, Mundingburra, a Labor MP in Townsville. So the next slide, please. So that's the tits, the turf's in the tropics. So, yay, tits! Thank you. There's only 4 of this. There's me on that side, there's Donna on the end, both of us can't see. There's my son in the middle holding call flutes, and there's my partner who drives and takes pictures. So I'll go back one, sorry I haven't finished talking. So we were there having a great time out front of Les Walker's office and getting really good response because most people in Townsville are quite, I don't want to say redneck, but right-leaning, and they definitely don't think that men should be in women's sports. So that got a really good response. So that was a fantastic day. And before I give you any more information about what happened, I better introduce you to the Three Stooges in Townsville. So there's Les Walker, who is in the west. He's Mundingburra. You've got Scott Stewart, who is for the south of Townsville, and Aaron Harper, who's for the north of Townsville. That's not actually what they look like. The next slide is what they look like. There they are. Perching on the top of Castle Hill, which is Townsville's most important landmark. So they really like blue shirts. And Les is the one in the middle. Next screen, please. So back to the story. The tits were doing our action, and it was going really well. And it was 36 degrees, and we were pretty keen to not be there too much longer. And a car came up, and this man ran down the window and he said, "Do you know who I am?" And I said, "No, I can't see you." So I went over to his window and I leant in, and he said, "I'm Les Walker and that's my office." And I said, "Oh, did you know there are men in women's sport and they're taking away women's prize money and women's titles?" He said, "No." "Well, call my office on Monday and we can make a time to meet." And I thought, beauty, that's the end of our action. So I went back and I told Donna and I said, "That's it, let's go to the pub." And then we had a great day. Next slide, please. So if you wanted to make a meeting with a politician, you can stand out the front of their office with call flutes if you want. You could just write them an email and make a phone call, which is what I did on the Monday. I called him up and his nice admin lady said to me, "Oh, can you write an email?" So I wrote an email and she didn't call me back. So I called her, and then I called her again and I called her again, and eventually I got a meeting. So the moral of the story is be really persistent. Just keep calling. Write them a nice email and tell them what you want to discuss. Try not to be too intimidating in the email, or they might not want to meet with you. But be persistent. What's the next slide? Oh, this was us sitting there thinking, holy shit, this is a real life MP and we're just a couple of blind chicks, what are we going to do? So we started to get a bit worried. So on the next slide, you can see we panicked a bit, and then I called Anna. Yay! And Anna set me right and she gave me some excellent advice. So if you ever are panicking, I'm sorry Anna, I just dumped you in that. The next slide tells you some of Anna's great advice. She said, don't go alone. I thought, no, we're going together, that's for sure. I'm not going to go in there alone with Les. And the next thing she said is to check out the parliamentary register of parliamentary interest. And I did that, and I found out that Les Walker was into cycling. And cycling is, in our family, we've got people in our family that are sporty and have won titles. I thought, this is good. We'll be able to discuss cycling and sport, women's sport especially. The next thing, we'll stay with that slide. Was that this? Okay. The next thing that I found out about Les is that he worked at Townsville Correctional Centre, and I worked at Townsville Correctional Centre too. So he was a Townsville Correctional Officer, and I was the TAFE teacher that went into the men's to teach the men. So I knew about what was going on in there, and so did he. So I thought, this is great. I'm going to talk about the dangers of men going into the women's prison, because they're really, really different. And the next thing that I knew about him was that he was working class, and I thought he might understand disadvantage. So that was the plan. On the next slide, we talk about how we did our brainstorming. So we wanted to work out who was going to say what and when. So we emailed ourselves backwards and forwards, deciding what to talk about, and we thought we're going to talk about everything, because the reason why, I should have mentioned this earlier, but the reason why we were there is because we were angry at the change or the amendment to the Births, Deaths and Marriages Bill and the loss of women's rights in Queensland. So we had a lot of ground to cover. So we covered everything to sport, to religion, to single-sex spaces and women's safety and prisons. We covered everything. But if you look up how to organise a meeting and have a good meeting with a politician, it tells you just pick a few things and come with a solution. We didn't do that. But it doesn't matter, it all worked out well. And the next piece of advice we got was from Anna, and she said to have a summary sheet. A summary sheet is just a piece of paper that you carry in that has got the name, date, what the meeting is about, dot points of what you discussed, a few resource links, and then your contact details if you wish for them to contact you for more information. So we did all that and we were prepared. And then the day came for the meeting with Mr. Les Walker, and he disappointed me. I was expecting someone of loftier intelligence and thoughtfulness than him. So I walked in, sat down. He spent 10 minutes talking about how great he is and what he's been doing. And then I tried to claw him back to say, look, no, actually, I'm here about something else. This is what I want to talk about. And he finally conceded to talk to me and listen to what I was going to say. So he just grabbed my summary sheet and started reading it out loud. I'm like, what a boss move, just trying to make me feel uncomfortable. And I let him get halfway through and I said, hey, Les, why don't you give me my sheet back and we just talk? And he agreed. And so it was a bit of a rough start. The meeting went for an hour and a half. So I'll give him credit. He really tried, and he really tried because he didn't realise that I was smarter than him. He tried everything he could. He said to me, I was a cyclist, and, women are faster than men. Did you know there's no difference between men and women's bodies at all? And I said, well, actually, I've got a degree in biology, and there sure is. And how come all of the women's titles and speeds are lower than the men's? How come the women are in separate competitions, Les? Oh, no. And then he changed the subject. He was very good at that. So then we got into the prisons, and I said, well, how do you feel about men being put into women's prison? And he said to me, oh, it's really dangerous in the women's prison. Those women are terrifying. They really are. They're even worse than the men. And I was astounded. I said, you've got to be kidding. I worked in there. I was the teacher. And he said, oh, yeah, what did you do? I said, I taught literacy and numeracy and uni prep for the men's. So my first day going into the men's prison, I walked 500 metres worth of caged corridor with matted hair and bits of flesh stuck in the cage and blood on the concrete. It was disgusting. You go over to the women's side, And they're gardening, they're playing ping pong. Hi miss, you're going to teach us today? I'm coming to class. It's completely different. I was so jealous of the teachers that taught in the women's. I had these stinky old men who would make sexual comments to me if they could and ask me to buy them durries. and they had these lovely women that were so keen they wanted to do a newsletter. So, completely different. He argued with me that I may have seen just, you didn't see the bad women. And I said, but why was I men's for 4 years and got all the bad men? And when I did like 2 weeks in the women's, I only got the best women. I don't know. But anyway. So when you go to have a meeting with a politician, oh, what's the first line up there?
Congratulate them on their good work.
Oh yeah, that's what they recommend, is to congratulate them on their good work and tell them how good they are. Les had already done that for himself. So I thought I would leave that. I did go in as a subject matter expert and I was confident, but the thing is, what was I going to say? I wasn't going to put up with his shit. Sorry about the language. And when it got to the point where he was just talking shit, I was just going to argue with him. So that's probably not the best approach, but it was a lot of fun. Try and be respectful and be confident, but like if you can't, that's okay, I'll forgive you, because I did it myself. Next slide. He actually said to me that if human beings can't change sex, why do we have sex change operations? I said, Les, have you ever seen a person change sex? And then I reminded him that all the men in the men's prison who were ladyboys from Palm, well, I knew all of them, good friends, they're lovely. They're there because they want to pick up men. They don't want to go to the women's prison. The people who want to go into the women's prison are the predators. And he said nothing. So he knew I was right. So, what do you do if you get a bad response? Have a sense of humour. Try not to laugh at them openly. I did that. You're wrong, Les. And try and be respectful. Remember, you are in charge and the expert in the subject matter you're bringing to them. And most probably, they have not heard anything about this ever before. Certainly, I am, after meeting Les, dead set that he had never ever considered the effect of what it would be to vote yes to change the amend the sex discrimination. Amend the First Esther Marriages Bill so that men could become women. He never thought about it. And when I put it to him, he was scrambling. And I think that he actually did absorb some of what I said. He said to me at the end something, I can't remember exactly, but he was intimating that I was a bit over the top and hysterical. That's what he was intimating. And I said to him, every cell in my body is female, is XX. That's why every part of me is a woman. So, what's the last slide? If you've taken the time to meet with a politician, you can pat yourself on the back. You've done a great job. Even if it hasn't been fantastic and they've been a bit mean, don't take it personally. And I forgot to mention, if they put on the fake outrage, you know, oh my God, I can't believe you said that. Just let it go over your head, because they do that just to put you off your conversation. Pat yourself on the back for having tried. And even if you didn't convince them that you were right and they were wrong, which you probably won't, at least they know that there are people who know they're wrong, and we're all talking about it. So that's pretty much what I wanted to say. And my last slide is, has anyone here heard of the Women's Action Alliance? Yes. Woo! So the Queensland Women's Action Alliance, there's a few members here. we're part of an Australia-wide group of women, as you can see, who connect to make sure we submit the most logical, rigorous, honest and, I suppose, non-political submissions that we can to make sure that, we can get our point across to government on these issues. And in the background, we do a lot of great actions. So if you want to know more information or you want a handout on what I talked about, I left them somewhere. I don't know, I can't see. Somewhere at the back.
Just here.
Yeah, so if you want to have a handout, you can. And there's my email on it as well. So if you want to email me to get that link sent to you for the Parliamentary Interest Register. You know what I'm talking about. I can't say words anymore. So that's all I have to say. Thank you very much. Yes, I would.